All right, everybody, welcome out to the CraigSkitz podcast. This week with Scott The Woz. Now, if you don't know Scott, Scott is one of the hottest, brightest stars on the YouTube pantheon with over 1 million subscribers. Now, Scott is really unique because he actually got to start his first exposure on screwattack.com way back in the day. And now, literally 10 years later, in his early 20s, he is making a living doing this. It's such a fun, unique story with Scott. And I hope that if you're a fan of Scott's, you stick around, hit the subscribe button, and you come join us because we have new episodes every Monday at noon Central Time. And if you really like the show, I would greatly appreciate any and all support over on patreon.com/CraigSkitz, where you can get to watch the episodes early if you like. So head on over there and check it out and get them every Friday before they hit YouTube on Monday. That's like a super secret club. Also, if you are not wearing pants right now, if you're wearing shorts or anything else, dress, underwear, whatever, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Because I know I haven't worn pants in like 4 months, 5 months because of this pandemic. So do me a favor. It'll help the show grow. I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's do it. It's Scott The Woz, episode 6 here on the CraigSkitz podcast. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Craig. How's it going?
It's great to actually meet you.
Yeah, you too. I've seen your face for the past it's more than a decade. Probably since like 2008, I'd say, is probably when I first saw you in particular. I mean, it was all on game trailers. Game trailers is where I discovered all of that kind of stuff, and then I started watching Screw Attack. Probably I started watching Screw Attack around then, but I wasn't like actively watching until like maybe like 2010, I'd say, is like actually going to the website like every day or something.
Out of curiosity, how old were you in 2008 when you started watching Screw Attack and AVGN and Top Tens and Vaults and all that?
Well, I was born in 1997, so I'm 12. But back then, it was like how old would I have been? I would have been 11 probably.
Nice.
Yeah, that was like the first thing because like I was somewhat interested in games around then, but I don't know. I remember specifically I was just going on YouTube one day, and that was like 2007, 2008 was when I like actively discovered YouTube, and that was primarily like a place where I was like oh man, there's so many like little TV clips from like all these shows that I liked watching, and that was like a fun website for that. But I didn't really discover a lot of original content until then. I remember I saw the trailer for the Angry Video Game Nerd episode on Simpsons games, and I saw there was like a little link to go to game trailers. And I didn't actually know how to copy and paste links back then, so I actively typed in the entire like URL and stuff. And I didn't know copying and pasting back then. And when I watched it, and when the theme song had a dirty swear in it, I was like, oh no! And I paused it, and I just ran to my room and got headphones because my mom was in the house. So I ran back and I just started watching it. And yeah, I was hooked. Like I was hooked on like retro gaming content. And then like I remember like of course like there was the game trailers like Screw Attack Portal, if you would, like where it was you had the 3 latest episodes from each of the shows, where you had Top Tens, Vaults, and AVGN episodes. And I would actively watch that. You could download those things back then, which was crazy. You could download them, and I would burn them onto DVDs, and I would watch them on car rides, to like family stuff, which was a lot of fun. And I also discovered like a lot of like the game trailers content too, like their the retrospectives and stuff like that. So yeah, it's wild to think back to that time because the internet was such a different place. The fact that they actively allowed you to download stuff for free, right. Because like now, like I mean, everybody has like a portable device that's always connected. So it's like there's no reason to, because that's lost ad money right there. Sure. But it was a wild time.
Dude, you're right. It's crazy, and it's so weird. It's cool to hear you speak like that about that. Let me throw something out your way, okay? I've been since this podcast has started, and I'll have made a decision by the time this podcast airs. Okay, so those who are listening to this will have heard where this comes from, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Scott. Okay, since the launch of this podcast, I've been inundated with a lot of folks who didn't know I still existed. All right, there were people who they're like, "Oh, Stuttering Craig, good to see you. Wow, I didn't know that Screw Attack wasn't a thing anymore. I didn't know that game trailer or that Game Attack was a thing ever. I'm good to see you doing your own thing again, right?" And a lot of people come back and they said, "Oh, I used to watch the top tens and the vaults and all that stuff all the time, and it really takes me back to hear your voice." And that's like really, really, it's cool to hear. It's cool to hear that. Mm-hmm. But it also has driven like this weird nostalgia for me for Screw Attack. Like once Screw Attack was done, I was kind of like, okay, I'm pretty good. But now the more I think about it, the less it sits well with me. How everything just kind of fell apart and it got destroyed by something else. So what would you think? What would you think that if I was to do a vault or a top 10 occasionally, like would that drive your like nostalgia crazy pants nuts, or would you think just leave the past in the past and let it be?
I mean, I think it would be cool to kind of bring back every now and then. Yeah, I think like the vaults were interesting because like some of those were like 40 seconds, you know, they were like 40 seconds long. So I think like bringing back something similar to that would be cool. I think like if you would do specifically like, I think top tens are kind of like timeless, you know, those are something that will always be relevant, I guess. I think those would work, but you know, you could obviously put your own personal spin on it since you're not, you know, like it would be kind of like a personal you situation. Right. It would be personally like by you. Vaults would be tricky. I think more people are, you know, you see like a lot of people kind of gravitate towards more like 40-minute long now like content on like those retro games or just games in general. So like I think I mean like you obviously have like a lot of the ability to just like do that kind of stuff, and I feel like a lot of people would really appreciate kind of like going back to not like that specifically, but probably that kind of mindset of just like, you know, you just kind of talking about games or talking about a game that, you know, you have nostalgia for, because people have nostalgia for you, and the Screw Tech members having nostalgia for a lot of those old stuff. Yeah.
It's weird. You know, it's kind of what I'm going to be doing on my Twitch channel is playing old games and almost like a live vault. You know, like where I talk about these things, but some people are scared of live streaming and stuff, so it is what it is. But hey,
yeah, I am.
You know.
I'm not a big. I've just never really been. I mean, like not interested in live streaming, but my brain is so wired into doing scripted content and just writing that I just feel like I'd probably fall apart in front of like a live stream, because it's really hard when you're just staring at a blank screen pretty much. And I feel like I've also waited too long to like do live streaming because I don't know. The channel's gone to the point where I feel like if I would live stream, it would just be a bunch of people in the chat going like, you know, like just going like, "Oh, Scott, like spit on my foot" and stuff like that. It's just like just like trying to get a reaction out of me or something like that. Where like, you know, I understand it's like a joke and I'm not insulted by that, but it's also like I just like I'm like okay, like I can't really play off of that stuff very well.
Let's talk about this because this is interesting to me. So how much? Okay, there's Scott, then there's Scott The Woz, right?
Yeah.
These are, you know, you see this all the time with, you know, like James Rolfe and the Angry Video Game Nerd. Two separate people. One's a character, one's a person. How close are the two? Is Scott The Woz an entirely separate section of your personality? Is he a different character, or is this Scott?
It's not really. I mean, it's obviously more of an exaggerated version of myself. Like everything I say, like I don't think I've actively lied in a video, like about like personal experiences when I'm like, oh yeah, I used to play this as a kid. Like I've never like lied about that or anything. It's like whenever I say something like that, where it's like, oh, it's a personal story. Like it's always like, yeah, that actually happened. And like it is my sense of humor like in the episodes, but it's also it's obviously played for laughs. It's obviously supposed to be like the way I write my videos is very different, I guess, because I like to kind of put them in their own little world. It's like this weird thing where I don't like referencing the fact that I have a YouTube channel. I don't really like going like, hey guys, you know, this upload, we're going to be talking about this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, like, that's just how I decide to like write the episodes, to kind of be like this weird thing where I never really reference the fact there's a YouTube channel, because there was like, there was a funny, like, I think there was a comment or something where like, it was 2020 has been absolutely insane, and like you have like all this stuff going on. I like one of the comments where somebody was just like, I don't think he knows what's going on like outside in the real world. I just think that's kind of a funny little thing, but it is me, but it's obviously, like it's obviously played for laughs, and it's obviously exaggerated a bit. Like if I'm like screaming in a video about like a game, I don't actually care that much. Sure. But it's like, it's obviously like I do have that emotion where I'm like, oh, I don't like this. Oh, I hate this. But it's like if I'm literally like just screaming into the microphone, it's more so like me doing voiceover and trying to, that's a big part. I doubt a lot of people are like that, like obviously there are elements of your personality that go into a YouTube video, but it's obviously like a lot of stuff is exaggerated. But I'd say it's a good like 80% is me, like in terms of like the character, I guess.
I think that's a pretty good ratio because it's like when you see, I don't know, just pick an actor, right? And you see them, you see them, you have your perception of them, whoever it may be. I'm just thinking of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like Andy Samberg or Terry Crews or whatever. It's like, I don't think that Terry Crews goes around popping his pecs everywhere. I mean, maybe he does, but and I don't think Andy Samberg is as bumbling of an idiot as he possibly as he appears to be.
Yeah, of course.
But they have shown those traits. I mean, not that Andy Samberg's an idiot because he's obviously a genius, but they have shown these traits, and in their real personalities per se. But yeah, I think like I remember with Screw Attack, that was kind of our thing was we're us, but on screen, it's like an extra 20%, kind of like you said, just a little amplified. Well, let's talk about this. So you are a young man still. You're easily the youngest YouTuber. Well, I mean, you're episode 5, so but still early on in this podcast. But you are doing YouTube. You've been doing YouTube. You've been creating for a long time. Like a long time since you were a wee lad, like early teens. And prior to Scott The Woz, you had a Wozniak News channel.
Yeah, I have some random garbage over here. Like pretty much. Do
you embrace this past? Do you embrace this, or is this just like this?
I mean, I'm not. There's no escaping it. It's I didn't do anything bad, but it's like also like God, I was. But it's like I'm kind of like like the only time whenever like private videos or anything is if like like you notice how people can get a little like nosy with like, oh man, who's this, what's this, and they try to get a little nosy. The only time I ever private stuff is because like back then like you'd maybe film something at like a family event or like with friends or something, and I'm kind of like, private this to just make sure like these people, because I haven't talked to these people in ages. I don't want to like their information out there. Like I don't know if there's any like personal information, but that kind of stuff. But I generally like to keep everything available for the world, I guess, because I think that's important. I like people looking at that kind of stuff and going, oh wow, he stunk. Like he was terrible. Because back then when I was like 13 or so trying to make these videos, I felt like, oh man, like the best thing would ever would be like a something like Cinemassacre or Screw Attack or stuff like that. But of course, like when you're 13, you're making like you're not gonna go anywhere like at that rate, like it's more of like the build up, kind of like that's gaining experience and stuff. But ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to do like creative stuff. I originally wanted to be an animator when I was very, very young. And then I actually I got like this camera for Christmas that's always on like the desk in like the Scott The Woz episodes. And it is a VCam Now 2.0 by Tiger Electronics, which that should tell you how quality it is. It's not great. It's like from 2006 or something. It's mainly made for kids, but it was pretty garbage, but it got the job done for like, just filming dumb stuff by myself. And like around then that kind of shifted me from like wanting to be an animator to just wanting to make like dumb like little skits and stuff, because that's around the time I discovered like a lot of online content, and that was just super appealing to me. I tried animation. I tried like animating stuff in Microsoft Paint, like frame by frame. Like I would just draw something, like I would draw a frame and then draw a frame and draw a frame. And I was just like, man, this is terrible. Like this is super this is super grueling and just not fun. I think it was mainly like I didn't like the idea of like lip syncing stuff, so I kind of fell out of that. But it's really cool now that I can like commission animators to like kind of like bring that like the ideas to life and stuff like that. So that's really cool. But that was around the time when I like was trying to do skits. I wrote like in like second grade, third grade, you write these short stories for the class. Like the teachers are like, oh, here's like like it's time for creative writing time. Write this thing. And I just wrote this dumb like thing where I was just like, oh, I'm a newscaster. I'll call it Wozniak News. And then like that got a big laugh out of the class. So I was just like, I'm just gonna keep doing this for 5 years. And like I just kept the brand name. I wanted to have my own like, James has Cinemassacre and you had Screw Attack, and it encompassed a lot of different like shows and features and things. And I wanted that to be my thing, so I called it Wozniak News, and I just kind of kept that brand name. And it was basically just like an outlet for like skits, and I made like a YouTube channel, a couple of YouTube channels for it. I made one YouTube channel, and I deleted it immediately after because I was worried since I was like less than 13, and I didn't want my parents finding out that I had a YouTube channel, even because I believe it was like I believe you had to be 13 to own it, but in retrospect, I was like, my parents wouldn't know it any different. Like they wouldn't care. They wouldn't have known. But so I just kind of worked on those little skits, and I really like doing like this kind of stuff. I made like a bunch of like DVDs when I was a kid of just like burning these projects I would make, and like with like Windows Movie Maker and Windows DVD Maker. And I would just make like I have just like piles of these things. Like it's just like that's just like one that's just like one case. But it's stuff like that. I made like a when I was a kid, I wanted to make like a magazine, so I made that for my class. So it's just like I had like all these like magazines that I would make.
Wow.
For like classes and stuff like that, and it would be it would be this thing where I just wanted to do as much stuff as I could. I saw like how James was doing pretty much everything, and Screw Attack was doing pretty much everything. So I wanted to do like my own style. Like I wanted to do as much as I possibly could, because Screw Attack did like, you guys owned a game store, you published games, you made DVDs. Yeah. That's pretty much, I wanted to make DVDs and stuff like that. So, it was just building up through that. And I had a website called wozniaknews.com, and like it was just done with one of those like really garbage like website makers and stuff like that, where you could just embed YouTube videos, you could embed like Flash games and stuff like that, or you can embed forums and all that. And I love doing that. And, I kind of kept that brand name, even though it didn't mean anything anymore. Like the name Wozniak News, it meant absolutely nothing. It was just like, this is what I started in second grade, so it's kind of a cool thing, or like third grade, I believe. Wow. I'm just going to keep this going on. And then by like 2012, I was like a freshman in high school, and I was just like, I should probably stop. That's when I decided like, okay, obviously if you want to get like, anywhere online or something, which I kind of wanted to, I was like, I kind of need to make these videos more for like the entire world, rather than just like, a lot of those videos were more so kind of like the only people who would really get them or get anything out of them were like my friends or my classmates or anything like that. So I decided like, I'm gonna retire this name, and I'm just gonna like, that's when I created like the Scott The Woz YouTube channel, because I just felt like, like it's just like, just a name like that, just my name, it might be like a little nickname sort of thing, but it's still my name, so it can encompass anything, and it makes more sense. It's just like, it's not like, what the hell is Wozniak News? It's more so, that's just Scott. I believe, well, actually, like 2012 was like one of my best years as doing Wozniak News, because that was when Screw Attack featured a few of my things, which was really cool. That was like the only time that I was just like, oh wow, I did something right. It was really cool, because before then I didn't really want to do like, it was this weird thing, because when you're a smaller YouTuber, you usually look up at the bigger ones and see what they're doing. You usually like to look at exactly what they're doing and try to like mimic that, or you want to have like a similar path to success, I guess, as they did. And like, you know, when I discovered people like James and, you know, obviously Screw Attack, I didn't see their path when they first started. You know, James started in like 2004, 2006, the specific series, and you guys started in 2006, and I wasn't there to see that grow. I didn't see what you guys had to do to kind of build that up. So I just thought it was just like, oh, it just randomly happens. So like I almost had like this little like feeling of pride where I was just like, I'm not gonna like whatever post my stuff on other websites or stuff like that. But around 2012, I kind of like I saw all the like the G1 created content and how there were like a lot of people who got started on Screw Attack, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna actually try to be more of an entity on this website. So I tried a few things, and I did stuff like I would post the videos I would make, and they still weren't great videos, but I appreciate the Screw Attack team for actually giving me me the benefit of the doubt there. There was like I think 3 videos I did that got featured on like the front page, but it was during like the new Screw Attack era when it was like that
the one everyone hated. The one everyone hated.
liked it. I liked it. I liked that design. It was I thought it was very functional and flashy. It was this nice balance because you had like the 3 little pockets up front that were like, oh, you got your news, you got your originals, you got your trailers, stuff like that, and then you could scroll down and then you could see everything else. And I was like, I liked it. I liked that one.
Listen. Years later, that gives me a little bit of comfort knowing that not everybody hated the website design, which is great.
I liked it. I didn't see. I mean, like then again, you know, that was also when like I wasn't actively like discuss. Like I've never been a commenter really. Like I've never really commented much. You can see that on like my social media now. Like I very rarely respond to stuff. Uh-huh. And it's not because like I don't want to. It's more so that I don't know. Like it's just like I've just never really been much to kind of be public online. Like in terms of like comment, I don't have like a private account that's like an old account commenting on stuff. But it's more so like I've just never really been much of a commenter. But yeah, like I never knew that it was like actively hated that much. But at least I liked it. I thought it was a fun.
I may be over exaggerating just a tad, but yeah, you know, but what's really fascinating is your ability to archive everything you've done, and I think it's important that you talk about not seeing Cinemassacre start, Screw Attack start, like just like you, like Screw Attack sucked when it started. You know, like it was not good. There were things that. There were like one of our favorite things we used to do was called the clip of the week, and it was like our weekly skit that we would do, and it was always random and crazy and stuff. That started off as this thing called the quote of the week, and the quote of the week was utter dog shit. Like it was the worst thing ever on the internet. Period. And it was one of those things where I almost wanted to, like, some of them were so bad that I was like, I can't do with this. I'm not going to keep this up. But some of them you keep up just so people, if someone was to find it somewhere down the line, they can be like, you know, they made strides. They got better. Yeah. You know, they got better, and that's the most important thing. So.
Well, unfortunately, I decided to start archiving stuff before the channel gained any traction, so I can't. I couldn't really make a choice where I'm like, oh, people are gonna see this. I don't care. Like I just thought, like, this is just more so than I have everything that I remember, you know, just on my second channel, you know, just then everything's archived as long as I need it. And then like that channel started to gain traction. I'm like, damn it, like now I can't go back. But it's also like, you know, like I'm happy that people can at least kind of like see like some humor in like the fact that, oh wow, what the hell was that? You know, like it's just like you know, it kind of helps because that's the beautiful thing about the internet. And that's also like the beautiful thing, but also the terrifying thing about the internet is that anybody can make anything they want. And like anybody has the ability to become like the big online. And that's beautiful because, you know, everybody has an equal opportunity. It's not as much like back in like whatever, like decades ago, you know, if you wanted to become a celebrity in Hollywood or something like that, you know, there's just like impossible to do. But now it's just like everybody has an internet connection. Anybody can make a YouTube channel. Anybody can do a Twitch stream, stuff like that. It's really great, but it's also terrifying because also like anybody can do it. So there's everybody, you know, like that's a lot of people in the crowd to shift through. So it's you know, I think showing that everybody starts somewhere, I guess, is a really, it's a powerful thing, even though I don't foresee anybody actively watching my old videos for entertainment other than irony, you know,
Sure,
like other
sure.
than like sarcasm, like, oh wow.
But
Yeah.
you know, and you're still a long way from this, but when, if you ever decide to have children, like, and they have an opportunity to see it with their 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, they'll be able to go back and see their dad, you know, and that's really cool. But like, I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, and like, I am petrified of the day that they find that they like, they kind of know what I do. Daddy's streaming or whatever. Daddy's doing this podcast or whatever. But when they find Screw Attack and the door like truly opens, like, that is terrifying to me. And like that,
yeah, it's a weird thing where it's just like, I don't even know, like, what do they say you do, like when they go to school or something like that, when you know, they have to ask like, oh, like, what does your parents do, you know, what do they say streaming, or do they say like video production or something like that?
No,
like, what do you,
you know, I think up until I started the podcast, it was Daddy streamed, right? And it's funny because I remember when the first Sonic the movie trailer came out and everyone hated it, right? It was like all these, like, you know, 30-year-old dudes who played Sonic growing up. They're like, oh, Sonic the Hedgehog, it sucks, right? And I thought it'd be fun to shoot like a little real quick like Twitter video with my, at the time, like 6 and 4-year-old daughters, right? That like this movie was designed for, right? So I sit down and I'm sitting there and I'm talking. And for me, I'm just talking to this camera back and forth, and I have, you know, my daughter's next to me. And when we get done, my daughter goes, "Who are you talking to?" Like, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you know, they don't grasp what exactly is happening and who I'm talking to, why I'm talking, you know.
Well, that's at least good, because that shows like they're not being raised by like the YouTube Kids app or something along those lines. Yeah,
no,
that's good. Yeah, because you know, you see a lot of kids like just going to like the grocery store and they're just glued to like an iPad or something like that. And it's just like, you know, I'm at least happy with like my content with being like, at least like, I mean, it's not meant for like little kids, but it's also like, you know, like it's you know, like it's at least like being, you know, it's not brain dead stuff. So it's just like, at least there's that going for it. But, you know, like, I feel like so many kids are being raised on, you know, those things, and I just like, in some cases they can be beneficial, but yeah, that's at least good. You're kind of like, it's obvious that your kids are actually like, you know, experiencing kind of the outside world or something like that.
I just personally, growing up online, like, the internet sucks. Like, they're just like, the internet's a bad place, man. And like, you know, capped off with, there's all these bad places, and then there's social media, which is the top of it. And like, I no, like I hate the fact, I mentioned this several times. Like, I hate Twitter, I hate Facebook, I hate it all. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's kind of part of the job, so you kind of got to be on it. So, so like the longer I can keep my kids away from, you know, YouTube proper and social media and just having any sort of reliance on technology, the better I feel, just me personally. So
that's just that's the problem with people, because like I see it's generally like with other people who do this kind of stuff. I very rarely go on Twitter. I mean, like, I'll check in on Twitter just to, you know, it's kind of like a news thing, just to see how like my peers are doing, and also just to see like what's happening like with just news in general. But like I see like a lot of the people who have kind of problems getting out like content regularly or like streaming regularly, they're tweeting stuff like 20-30 times a day, and like, you know, like I just feel like, man, that might be why you're having a bit of an issue there, because it's like a drug for a lot of people to just constantly get like these reactions from people, and just retweets, to just get people to just constantly, because you know you kind of feel like that sometimes where you know, I'm making a video and it's not, you know, it's much different from streaming. You know, I'm sure you know, because you've done both, where it's like you make a video and you're just kind of alone looking at a screen the entire time, and you know, you're not getting that reaction from people. You're not getting like people immediately saying, oh, that's great or that's good. And then you put it out, and then, you know, you'll see like some people like and retweet it, like people that you know, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then it's back to working again, and you know, you don't get that immediate interaction. So I can see why like people really like it, but I just I'm very focused on just like getting this stuff done, and also I just don't have much to tweet about. Like there's just not much to say on my end, so I think it's a good problem to have, to be not as on social media as I should be, I guess.
No. You've struck a good balance, Scott. You do not need to be on social media at all. Trust me, it's a bad thing. Just post links when they go up, and then you're good. Like that's just get out of town for sure. Well, so your YouTube strategy is pretty amazing, because you said you've completed like 150 something episodes. You're in your fourth season now? Third season?
Yeah, it's I just did the 175th. So that was kind of like a fun little time to take a break, I guess, where I'm just gonna relax for a month or so.
And but you release content every week, and the traditional model with YouTube is, it's like 10-minute videos as fast as humanly possible, right? And that's how your channel gains traction and blah blah blah. There's all whatever, right? But your strategy is fascinating. You have your once a week every Sunday night. And except for when you're on a break, which is well deserved. And it's been interesting to see, because you've been on this trajectory growth where you recently passed 1 million subscribers, and you've had steady growth literally from the start of your channel. What do you think is the biggest attribute, the biggest reason why you've grown? Is it the quality of your content? Is it cross promotion? Do you feel like it's just people like you? Like what do you think is?
Well, like the channel was at least like, you had that first year where like there wasn't much growth. I mean, like it was growing steadily back then for like a small channel, just to kind of complete the story here. It's like, I started the core like Scott The Woz channel in 2012. And then, I try like some skits and stuff like that back then. And, it was fine. It worked. It was better than the previous ones, but it was like, whatever. And I kind of fell out of it for a bit. I tried it for another year, and then I fell out of it for a bit. And I kind of just used it as a means to make like, to post like school projects we would do, like whenever they'd assign video projects. And then around 2016, we decided to do like one final like school project, and that's the first video you'll see on the channel, which is called The Internet and You, which is like the VHS tape looking one. And that's when I was like, oh man, I really like this. I really, because I'm still in college. I was in college at the time for I was starting college at the time for marketing. That's my major, was marketing, and I thought I want to continue with video. Like I'm just like, I kind of want to like, I don't want to major in video, but I think like if I just kind of keep up my video skills, that would be a good attribute to have, for a marketing job if I would ever get that. So I continued making some videos, and then I thought, in 2017, I'm going to make a new video every single week. And I always wanted to do video game related content. I did not have a capture card, so that was going to be interesting. But that was, I was like, I'm going to make a new one every single week, and I'm going to just kind of like keep myself to like this, I don't know, personal goal. I'm like, every single week there's going to be a new video. I'm going to keep at it. It was going to be like, it was my main hobby throughout 2017, was just kind of keeping at it with that kind of stuff. And the channel grew steadily. Like it got over 1,000 subscribers that way, up by about August of 2017, which was amazing. Like that was the most subscribers I ever got. And then around October of 2017, there's another YouTuber called Relax, and he messaged me. He was like, hey, I kind of want to give your channel a shout out. Basically he just re-uploaded one of my videos and said, hey, you should check out his stuff. And ever since then, it was just this consistent growth where like that kind of kicked the channel in the pants. And people recognized it. And then shortly afterwards, he deleted the video because like the channel was already like kind of like going off on a good stride. And ever since then, it's just been growing steadily. And it's a weird thing because like I can probably point to all these different things as to why it's been growing steadily, but I don't know if it's one particular thing, because that's my main thing is there's no, you hear all these people say, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that to get like a channel that does well, I guess. And that's not true. You can do like, there's no formula at all. Like there are things that are more likely to get you up in views or whatever, but you can do whatever you want. And as long as like people want to watch your stuff, like they will, you know, like that's just the thing, because the way the channel is formatted, a lot of it is like in ways that people are like, oh, you can't do that because that's not going to get views, because sometimes the videos like just go just like they're not even gaming related, like randomly in the middle of the week. Sure. I posted a video that was just about like school dances, or one that was about like a chia pets or something. That was just a little skit video, you know, 3 minutes long. It wasn't even like not informational at all. It was literally just, here's a comedy skit that's a part of the series. And those still do well, and I'm so thankful for that, and I'm very grateful that people actually care about that kind of stuff. And, you know, like, it's stuff along the lines of, like, the videos aren't really, like, clickbaity. You know, it's mainly, like, the thumbnails and titles are exactly what you're getting with the video. And, you know, some of them are less than 10 minutes. Some of them are like 40 minutes long, and I like, believe me, I wouldn't do that if I didn't have, like, it was literally like sometimes scripts just turn out that long, because like that's a nightmare to edit. But I don't know, it's I think when I first started the channel, my goal was, I wasn't immediately like, I want this channel to do incredibly well, you know. It was more so, I want this as a hobby, you know, I'll do this for like a year or so, and if it turns out well, that's awesome. If it doesn't, you know, as long as I'm having fun, which I was, you know, maybe I'll continue it, maybe I won't. But you know, it did well, and I'm very thankful for that. But ever since that beginning, I kind of like, there were these little things that I chose, like inherent, like I was instinctively, I chose them, where I thought I would want people to start watching the videos for like the gaming related stuff, or like because like that topic interests them. But I wanted them to stay because they liked me, and they liked, you know, like whatever I would put out and that kind of stuff. And thankfully, I think that kind of worked out, because like I can, you know, I've been able to make like videos on the stupidest things imaginable, and they still like, there's a big like fan base for them, and that's amazing. But in terms of like what I've done in particular, I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, people can analyze this stuff, but you know, I'm not thinking that directly about it. A lot of the things that I'm very picky about with the episodes and the videos, I'm not like I didn't like overly think it through beforehand. It just sort of happened, but I keep doing it because I'm like, oh, that makes sense from like a business perspective, or whatever, you know. It's more so, and I don't like to view the channel as that, but it's like what's
best for
I mean,
your channel?
the IRS declares it as one, so sometimes I have to think of it as that. But I like to always make videos with the idea that only 200 people are still watching, which is what it was like in 2017, because then, you know, I feel like that can be the downfall of some YouTube channels, is going a little too businessy, a little too corporate, and a little too like, oh, here's a sponsorship, which sponsorships are fine, but you know, like you know, like sometimes they're a little too prevalent in the video. Sometimes, you know, like the product placement's a little too prevalent. Sometimes they're pushing stuff a little too much, and you have to do that. Like a lot of times, you know, you have to push that kind of stuff. But, you know, sometimes you see channels go for more business perspectives. And, you know, I kind of like to keep things as if they are still like, it's still just like, I like the production value to be higher and higher and higher, but I still like to have that homemade DIY feel, which I think is really important with YouTube.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I have an idea for a sponsor for your channel.
Okay, let me hear it.
I want to sponsor your channel. I want.
Well,
I'm gonna. My Twitch channel is gonna sponsor your channel. It's gonna be awesome.
I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't know. I don't know about that one.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It just may work. Now,
another YouTube channel sponsoring another YouTube channel. I haven't actually seen that yet.
Exactly. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about like, you know, the fan clubs of like, you know, topics that you create content around, right? And that people may be fans of, right? And I think that's really fascinating, because your most viewed video is over 7 million views, and it's about video game controllers, right? Like I can't think anybody is like, I'm a really big video game controller fan, but everybody can relate because everybody's played video games, right? And the irony is that everybody has their opinion about what their favorite video game controller is, right?
I think it's a big. I think like if you want to find like topics that resonate like that, which I didn't expect that to like hit 7 million. I wasn't expecting that to hit 1 million. I wasn't expecting that to hit 500,000 views. You know, stuff like that. You you kind of want to find stuff that like maybe not a lot of people are talking about, but everybody's experienced. Because like I remember I made one about the just the DS as a retrospective, just a retrospective about the DS, retrospective review, whatever. And I just remember like I remember looking on YouTube just to see like, and I just didn't see a ton of like full on retrospectives of that, and I was just like, yeah, everybody's played the DS, so it's like I don't like why I kind of want to make that just so then there's a full blown retrospective that's also like really fun and humorous and all that. Like it's kind of all about finding those things and that everybody's experienced, but not a lot of people are talking about, and I think a lot of people find success out of that. Yeah,
That's great. Love it. Do you have a favorite video that you produced, like just overall that you feel is Scott the Woz best personified?
It's tricky because and like I'm happy that I think of it this way because it's like it generally changes a lot, and I like that because that means that I must be doing something right in my mind, because that means like, oh, if I'm consistently feel like my favorite episode or video I've done is changing, that should mean like, okay, well, at least I'm not like running out of ideas, or at least I'm not like burning out or anything like that. I'd say overall it was the Christmas special from last year in 2019. It was called It's a Bargain Bin Christmas, and I just loved everything about that in terms of like the production. The production was like, isn't like you always have these videos where like there's always a few little things at the very least that you wish like, oh man, I wish I could do that better, or like I wish like the camera was in focus for that shot or stuff like that, but you have to make do with what you have sometimes. And that one, I don't really remember any major, like I didn't, there wasn't anything I would actively be like, oh man, I wish I could redo that. Everything I was like, you know what, I'm very happy with how that turned out. There was like an opening credit scene with like incorporated like over a dozen different animators as like this like storybook opened, and we had James Rolfe narrate it, which was awesome. That was like this really cool just like feeling of like, oh wow, this is like something that I would have just freaked out over as like little 13-year-old Scott watching Cinemassacre and Screw Attack and all that, and I still was very amazed at that. I told you this, but it's really cool to just like do stuff with like people that you watched all this time, or like you've at least seen, and you can finally do stuff with them. It's this crazy feeling that it's hard to really adjust to. But yeah, that's probably my favorite in terms of just like the writing and the production value and all that. It still makes me happy.
Sure.
Which is one of those things. Mm-hmm.
Well, so how did you and James get hooked up?
One of the producers at Cinemassacre, it was Justin Silverman.
Yeah.
He emailed me randomly before Too Many Games 2019, which was that was like the first convention I was ever gonna go to. Mm-hmm. And it's the only convention I've ever gone to until this point, of course. Yeah, because I couldn't go this year. Yeah, so true. There's that. I would have loved to, but yeah, that was the first and only one I've gone to up until this point. And yeah, he emailed me asking like, hey, would you like to do one of their rental reviews with them? And I was like, yeah, that's super cool. Like, I'd love to. And then he followed that up with like, oh, also like Mike asked if you wanted to do a James and Mike Monday with them, and I'm just like, yes, of course I do. Like, why wouldn't I? That's like a crazy like thing I never expected to happen. I was like, Jesus Christ, like why? I've never expected this to.
Sure.
And Too Many Games happened, and that was a crazy experience. Just seeing all these people that watch my stuff all in like one room and throughout the entire convention was really unreal. It was just this feeling where I'm like, I'm just not even gonna think about it, and I'm just gonna keep going along. And this feeling of like all these people who actively came there, or at least decided to like put their schedule aside to see you during your panel or the signing and stuff like that. I'm just like, Jesus, like I'm just gonna like zone out for a bit and just let this happen, so that I'm not like kind of like freaking out or anything. But
it's a
afterwards,
very surreal feeling.
Yeah, it's it's a very surreal feeling, but I think I've watched enough like I remember watching a lot of panels from like SGC, which I never went to any of those because I just had too many games to like my first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a kid. I couldn't buy Screw Tech DVDs, but I sure as hell like back when I think it was like 2016 or something when like Game Attack formed.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Brewster Teeth was doing a like a clearance sale on like some of the DVDs, and like yeah. Well, I had a debit card around then, so I actually bought the ones that I wanted as a kid. I think this is all of them. So I just wanted them.
Man, you got
because I was like I always wanted these as a kid, and I did get them.
That's awesome. You probably got them all for like $6. I think they were like legitimately.
It was like something like that. There was like a couple that I had to get on eBay afterward. Like that was like a couple years later. I was just like, oh yeah, there's this other one. I was like, oh, it's on eBay. I'll do that. Yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
There's your face. Yeah. Have that.
You know how we shot that that was literally up against a wall. If you look at that cover, there was a white wall that we put some tape on, and we shot it like with an iPhone at the time, or like a whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing like very just like rough writing of like 6'1", 7'2", or 61 inches, 72 inches. There it is. Yeah. So like I would watch like panels like that, and I kind of at least had a good idea of like how to run a panel and that kind of stuff. So at least like turned out pretty well. And it was also funny because I wanted to do just some dumb stuff. So I was like, I created like I ordered like awards. I ordered trophies from like a trophy making website, and I was like, oh yeah, we're doing an award show. Basically, if you ask a question that qualifies for any of these awards, like most insulting question or something like that, I'm like, there you go.
See, that's awesome.
Something like that.
That would have fit perfect at SGC. That would have been an amazing SGC panel. Love it.
Yeah, I was very concerned about bringing that through the TSA because like all those trophies, I had to like at 4 a.m. when I was getting on the plane ride, I was literally like. I opened up my bag and I just showed it to him. I was just like, listen, I have like 9 trophies in my bag. Just throwing that out there. And they were like, why?
Skills on the best.
But
that's right.
Yeah. But afterwards was when we were all gonna like film with James, and there was a few other people a part of that. There was Arlo, and then there was also Nathan Barnett, who was there for pretty much. Nathan? Yeah, Nathan was there for the whole time, and we were all at James's house, which was a surreal experience to like see like all this stuff. Like we saw like the video store and the nerd room, and that kind of thing. And I felt really bad because like after a convention, I was toast. Like I was literally like so drained, and I felt like I got really quiet after like because we spent the entire day there, so I was just like I was starting to get very drained just because I'm like, oh my god, I am so tired. So I got a lot quieter near the end, and I feel really bad, but we all stayed in touch, which is really nice. So yeah, ever since then, I emailed him about being narrator, and he was super cool with it. He responded pretty promptly. And yeah, there's still discussions going on about like other stuff.
Oh, nice.
So it's a lot of fun. Nice. Yeah, it's really crazy to be working like with people that I watched all the time and still do. So yeah, it's really wild and incredibly surreal.
It's fun. It's exciting. You mentioned Nathan. We'll have Nathan on here in the next few weeks as well. Nathan's been chomping at the bit to be on the podcast. He has a lot to talk about. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So you talk about the highlight from a production perspective. Do you have a low light video that you look back on? You're like, oh well, I wish I could have done that one a little bit better.
Yeah. There's like there's a few that there isn't any that I'm just like, oh man, that one is garbage. But it's also like as time went on, I obviously kind of like went for more videos that are more timeless, I guess. Stuff that will always be relevant to some extent. Mm-hmm. There are obviously some that are more so, it's trying to be a bit more timely than others, but that's just because I want to talk about, like if I'm talking about like E3 2019 or something, like obviously slightly more timely, but also like I've gone back to like all the old school E3s, like 95 through 99 at this point. So it's kind of like it's still kind of a part of that whole lineage, I guess, you know, like it's still kind of a part of that series. But you know, back then, like the first Scott The Woz video that I did was talking about what I wanted to see out of the Nintendo Switch, and that was a week before they did that presentation where they revealed everything. Like they revealed like the launch games and basically the launch year stuff, and that video was outdated in a week, and I was like, man, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like I'm
funny.
fine with that video existing, but it's also like, you know, like a part of the whole episode list. I'm not happy that how I did that. And there's like other stuff where like back in the first year, there's obviously some episodes where I didn't know how to use a mic properly sometimes, so I got like really close and like it was like you know, the audio would distort and it was really bad.
Sure.
Obviously a lot of the stuff I did as a kid, not the proudest of that, you know. It's also you know, it's whatever. But there's nothing I can really do about that. But yeah, most of them, and like there are some that are like I wish I could have made them a bit more a bit more in depth. Back last year, there were like a few episodes that were just happening when like maybe after I did a bigger episode, or during like just like times when like I don't know, my personal life was like super busy and there was a lot going on. So there was like some like there was like a episode about demo discs and canceled game consoles, and those were fine. Like those are just fine. And I'm like, you know, I probably would have tried to make them a bit more unique, I guess, because like looking back, they're a bit more like, this is just a typical video, because you know, like I don't know, that's what I like though. You know, I kind of like them all kind of following a similar format, because it's the sense of like they always start, or they at least have like a part at the desk, and there's always like a part, obviously it starts with, hey, all Scott here, and that kind of thing. And that's something where the format of the episodes makes them very, it makes it so then like if you liked one, you're probably bound to like the rest of them.
Sure.
Which, you know, I think is really cool, that like because like I describe it as like a comedic video game variety show, because like it's literally like not a variety show in terms of sketch comedy, but more so like you know, the topics are so different from episode to episode. Like one episode's about game controllers, the other's about just like whatever, like a game, just one singular game, and then the other's just about, you know, whatever else, like an E3 from 1998, you know. So you know, there are a few that I look back on, like I'm a little like, I would have done those a little better, but I think they still all fit in like the overall like episode list, I'd say.
Well, when you get to E3 2006 and specifically 2006, 2007, let me know. Those are my 2006 was my first one. E3 and 2007 was like the biggest cluster ever, because that was the one where they just took all the E3 stuff out.
Yeah, it was like E for all or something along those lines.
I will gladly tell you about that.
Yeah, I've never been to E3. I've always wanted to go at least once. Hopefully next year it'll happen, just so then I can be like, you know what, I did it. It's not going to be as good as like how I've seen stuff back in like 20 you know, like 2008, 2009, 2010, you know. Those looked like they were like these giant parties pretty much, where it's just like there's so much going on. But how was that for you, basically, like in 2006? Because like that was that the first time you went? Was like when Screwtech started? That
was one of the big reasons why we were able to get it. Like we wanted to go to E3. E3 is this thing, right? It's just, you know. So you know, I remember walking in, and my first. Well, I have two big memories of E3 2006. Number one was I snuck in the first year because we had our passes, but you know, you have your journalism pass, you have your vendor pass, you have your exhibitor pass, whatever. And if you don't have the right color, you're not going to get past the security guards, right? I don't know what I was thinking. This is the year that the Wii was being shown off for the first time, right? So this was all excitement. So what I did, you know, it's so stupid for doing this. It's like, if you do this, you get caught, you're never going back again. But I went into the restroom, and the restroom at the convention center, actually, there was an entrance from the hallway, and there's an entrance from the exhibitor hall. So what I actually did was I went in and I essentially stayed in the restroom for like an hour prior to the exhibitor hall opening up. And then I just kind of walked in about 10 minutes prior to the exhibit hall opening because I knew there was going to be this mad rush to go to the Nintendo booth, right? So about 10 minutes in, I just kind of walked in and I flipped my badge around to where it was, all the colors were facing towards me in my shirt. And I just kind of walked to the Nintendo booth, 10, 15 minutes early and just kind of crossed my arms a little bit and stood in line. And I was legitimately probably, I don't know, maybe one of the first 15, 20 people to play the Wii at E3 2006 because I was a little shithead and I did that. Yeah. And the other thing I remember was walking in and seeing a giant skateboard half pipe. And I think they were promoting like a Tony Hawk game or something. And this is obviously an Activision booth, and it was like, what the hell is a giant half pipe doing in the convention center? And I was like, oh, okay, this is E3. Like this is crazy. So
I definitely do want to at least try. I mean, like I wouldn't really if E3 2021 does happen, I would love to go just to dick around, just to like go there and just I don't know, just act like I'm reporting on the scene, but all like it just like not even be like actively like I wouldn't really care to go like wait in like because I hear like it's just like hours of waiting in lines and that kind of thing. And thankfully I'm in a position where like I'm not trying to report on this stuff. I'm not trying to get a scoop or anything like that. So I would just want to go just to be there. Just at least like once in my life. I think that's like something that I think everybody at least wanted to do back then, but as it goes on, you hear more and more horror stories. I heard 2019 just was not that enjoyable. Like there just wasn't much going on the show floor or anything like that.
Yeah, for me, I think I've been to probably 13, 14 of them, right? And it's one of those things where at a certain point you're like, okay, kind of seen it, kind of done it. Like I'm good. And it would definitely, there was definitely some holes on the floor, like as far as people not being there that you'd expect in giant booths. Nintendo always is outstanding, but outside of Nintendo always delivering in a massive way. I'll tell you, their booth though in 2019 with the Luigi's Mansion was pretty amazing. If you saw any video of it, it's really great.
I saw they really go above and beyond when it comes to just like decking out their booth. But then I saw like Microsoft isn't even there, like they're kind of in their own thing, and then Sony just wasn't there for the past
couple of years.
Were they there? Well, actually 2018 they were there, I think, and then 2019, and then this year they couldn't, but it was like it was basically just Nintendo, which is cool, but it's also like you kind of there's a sense of like competition when they're all there and they're trying to one up each other that I think is like lost when everybody's trying to like do their own little events elsewhere or something like that. Which
probably my favorite thing about E3 now is going and seeing like these like third party peripheral booths, right? That are like 10 by 10, but it's like 2 or 3 guys and they're super excited about being there. It's kind of like if you were to go to like PAX, right? And there's this booth that's in the corner of these guys selling this indie game, right? And they're like, "Come play our game, we really want you to check our game." And like it's really great, but it's really out of place when you think of like the lore, the illustrious nature of E3.
It's definitely a bit. I don't know. It's cool to see, like it's something where like I've seen videos of like the show floor, and it's cool to see a lot of those like third party peripherals that are like, some of them could be actually pretty neat, but it's also like, like it's just cool to see a lot to stuff, but it's also because like there's nothing else, there's not much else going on too. So it's just like, exactly. It's unfortunate.
It's pretty, it's the internet. Congratulations, internet! You killed the best thing in video games. Congratulations, you killed it. It's like the same thing that gives us jobs screwed everything up, which is good. So let me ask you some questions, some personal questions, Scott, if you don't mind me asking.
Okay, all right. Lay it on me.
Lay it on you. You're a young lad now. You're still young. You're 23, right?
Yes.
You're 23. And see, and you've been making content. You have a successful YouTube channel, over 1 million subscribers, right? I imagine you do this for a living?
Currently, yes. Because I was working at a grocery store for quite a while. And I stayed there until May of 2019. But then after that, I was just like, this channel's getting too much. It's becoming a bit too much to focus on as like it was pretty much full time around then, but I was still going to my other job.
What'd you do at the grocery store?
So I was originally a bagger back in 2013. That was my first job.
Dude,
I was a bagger.
Don't hold on. You worked your way up from a bagger to manager?
No, I was a cashier. I could have been manager, but I screwed around a little too much.
Lead cashier. Lead cashier.
Yeah, I was one of the bigger boy cashiers. Okay, technically they also gave me a job where I could change the price tags in the system and stuff like that, which was like, well, there it is. Nobody else can do that.
That
was a fun one.
That's trust.
Yeah, but it was I was a bagger for like 2 years or so, and then they promoted me to cashier, which I don't really know as much of a promotion because it's like for some reason like they always looked at cashiers like, oh wow, that's a promotion, but it's just you do actively less than the baggers. The baggers kind of like run that whole store. Like they stock shelves, they help customers, and they bag groceries and stuff, and they do a lot more. They technically speaking that you should trust them more, but the cashiers handle the money, I guess. But
all right,
yeah, I did that, and I also like worked on like a price tag supervisor, but that was pretty much cashier in that until May of 2019.
Okay. Look, I gotta listen. Here's the thing. I'm pulling this up as we're going here because I want to hear some thoughts here. Okay, because the PLU codes as a cash register, that's the hardest thing to remember as a cashier, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that you remember some right off the bat. So I'm going to throw some out real quick, and you see if you can tell me what the PLU codes are.
Okay, right? This is going to be tough. I do remember. There are a couple that I remember that are kind of like ingrained into your mind. You might want to get a tattoo of some of these codes if you've ever been a cashier.
I'm just going to guess probably banana.
Yeah, 4011.
There you go.
That's an easy one.
There you go.
That's an easy one.
How about just like a nice apple?
So Honeycrisp is going to be like 3283. Other ones are a bit tricky. They get a little wacky, but Honeycrisp is like the one apple that you kind of know, and I know that's 3283.
Nice. Let's throw a curveball out here. How about a pear? These are tough. This is a tough one here.
See, that might be. I'm not. Oh God. See, I'm kind of picturing it, but for some reason my mind's still going to 4011, which is just banana.
Yeah,
it's just that's always. Oh man.
Sorry, Scott.
I don't know. Is it in the 4000s? Is it starts with 4?
Low 3000s, Scott. Low 3000s.
Low 3000s.
Yes. I would have taken anywhere between 3012 and 3020, Scott. I just want to
see. Pears just weren't big in my area. Not as many people bought pears as you'd want them to.
I hear you.
So,
all right, well, let's give you one more. See if you can really nail this one here. What about? I'll tell you what. What about just a straight up lemon?
Oh man! Oh damn it!
Hey, listen, you win this. Win this. You win the trophy for best PLU memory.
I mean, it's been a year and a half, so this is embarrassing. It's only been a year and a half. Oh man! So I remember. Oh God, was this
4?
So 40, 53?
Ooh.
Is that it?
Ooh. See, you know what? You're
they
correct.
Quantity,
You're correct.
What?
You are correct. I was looking at 4033. It's actually there's 4033 and 4053. Scott, you win.
God,
you win.
Hooray! I finally did it. I'm gonna have to go back to that store to really shove that in their face. Man, no, I know they're by quantity. I remember what's by quantity, what's by weight. Bananas by weight, apples by weight, lemons, that's by quantity. I know that.
I love the fact that somebody was watching this being like, man, Scott, it took so long. It's 4053. What an idiot. God.
Such an idiot. Doesn't remember. I mean, I'm not good with pears, but for some reason I can remember my lemons, bananas, and apples. Yeah.
All right.
But that was my job for a while there, but I kind of wanted to keep it for a while just to it was this feeling where I was like, you know what? I don't want to immediately jump anywhere with this channel like doing well. I wasn't like I'll stick here for a little bit. It also kept you like social and stuff like that, because it gave you a reason to leave the house all the time. Kind of kept you on a schedule.
Remember leaving the house? That was great, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. It kind of kept you it kept you on a schedule, which is good, because when you're your own boss, when you're focusing on your own stuff, and you're just trying to, you have to be super self-disciplined. You have to be like, oh, this is the exact time I have to do this. I have to get this done right now. And being forced to kind of adhere to a separate schedule, like, oh, I have to go into work from 4 to 8 tonight, kind of forces you to know, like, okay, I have to get this done ahead of time and stuff like that. It's been a little trickier to kind of do that, because obviously sometimes you're like, man, I'm tired. I don't want to do anything today, but I think it was for the best, because I couldn't imagine still working there.
Sure.
Like
Well, so now you're full time, right? You're a young man,
yes.
doing well. You have this career creating content that in time will influence other people to do this. So let's just say in 5 years, right? Where are you? In 10 years, where are you? Let's play the 5, 10, and 20-year game with Scott.
All right. Well, so the fun thing is, working at a grocery store like that, which it was an independent grocery store. It was a local independent grocery store. You have a lot of people that were there for 50 plus years. You have like old people that have been working there forever, and my concept is like, okay, I'm not planning to do this my entire life. I don't know. Who the hell knows what the YouTube landscape is going to be like in 2072?
Sure.
Like I don't know. But if I would have to do this all my life, it's something where I'm like, well, that's a pretty good deal. That's something where I'm like, I'm doing this thing that I always wanted to do, and entertaining millions really is like something that not many people can say they can do, and that's like this insane feeling that I'm like, I would love to do stuff similar to this for the rest of my life. I don't really see any slowdown with the YouTube channel, but eventually, like, I think like next bucket list item of mine is to start working on like my own, a show that would be actually like, like something that you would see on like Netflix, like a TV show pretty much. That's kind of like my next bucket list item. And it's been something I wanted to do for like over a decade now. And it would be like a scripted comedy similar to stuff like Arrested Development and Community and The Office, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, stuff like that. And I really want to do that, but it's also like, I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing right now. So it's really hard to like kind of push something off to the side to work on this other thing when you already like that thing so much that you're pushing off to the side to work on this other thing that you want to do. Because, I don't know, because like you see a lot of people try to like jump from YouTube to other avenues like that. And a lot of them don't work out very well. Like it's just like a lot of like YouTube, like a lot of that audience on YouTube doesn't translate over to like something like Netflix or cable TV or something like that, or like film or anything. And I would want to try to defy that a bit by trying it. But I don't want to like, I wouldn't want the YouTube channel to really slow down because of it. I wouldn't want the YouTube channel to suffer because of it. I would want everything to be very similar on the YouTube channel because, like I said, the YouTube channel is, I think YouTube content should be very personal, as in like not specifically like, oh man, I'm going to reveal all these personal details about myself. This is the perfect avenue to reveal my soch. It's more so like, you feel much more connected with the person on camera in YouTube. And, I want that to always have this kind of like, like I said, the production value keeps going up, but you still have that homemade DIY feel. I'm the only one that edits my videos. I'm the only one that produces these videos. I get help from my friends every now and then to appear on camera or to hold the camera or something, but it's all me pretty much. And as much as like it would be so much weight off of my back to hire more people to work on that with me. One, I don't want to hire my friends because I feel like that's trouble waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. I have no doubt that my friends could do an amazing job, but I've just, I don't want our friendship to be affected by like money and stuff like that. But I always want this to, like I said, to feel like I'm just making this for like 200 subscribers or something like that. Because, like when you start focusing on this too much as like a business, I remember like these sayings where it's just like, oh, like kid's on the playground and he's like on the swing set and every single day. And this guy comes up and he's like, I'll pay you to be on this swing set every single day. I'll pay you $100 a day. And the kid's like, okay, I do this regardless. And like a month later, guy stops paying the kid and the kid stops doing it, and he's just like, why did you stop doing it? It's just like, well, you stopped paying me. And I feel like that's a big problem because like this has always been a hobby of mine and I don't want to focus on it too much like a business. But regardless, like I said, like I want to keep doing that. I want to keep like it feeling like homemade, but I would like to also focus on maybe trying to do stuff like, like a scripted TV show that would be more so, high quality. I probably wouldn't have my friends act in that because I love my friends. They aren't actors. And,
Sure.
I'd kind of want this to be like an actual like production. Well, the YouTube channel would still be for like the fun kind of homemade stuff that you see right now, where it's like the quality is still very high, but you also, I love this sensation that anybody can look at that and go, I can do that too.
Sure.
Because that's exactly what I want. I want people to make more stuff. Because like that's like I said, the beautiful thing about the internet. And I think that's the beautiful thing about YouTube is that it's ignited so many people. It's inspired so many people to do their own thing. In terms of like 10 years, I would, that's kind of like my 5-year thing. I think within the next couple years, I would like to do that. That's kind of like my main bucket list thing. Maybe like I'll create a pilot, upload that to YouTube, and then see where things go after that. Afterwards, I think like, in like 10 years, I would like to do like more stuff like that, like try to do like maybe a movie or like maybe work on like a game or something like that. Maybe try my hand at like other entertainment mediums. The thing is, I would want to try to do more original stuff that isn't directly linked to like the Scott The Woz brand, which is like, that brand is great because it can encompass so many things. It's just my name. But I would want to make sure that like I can do more before I do more with this brand. Like I wouldn't want to make Scott The Woz the movie before I make like just an original movie or something. I wouldn't want to make Scott The Woz the TV show before I make like an actual TV show, or Scott The Woz the game before I make an actual game. And then after that, maybe like we can like look at that again in 20 years. That's a bit tricky.
It's a tough question.
I think,
I have no idea where I want to be in 20 years either, so it's all right.
Yeah. I think in 10 years, I think by 10 years, I think like at least like having like a family would be something I would like settling down with somebody and having some kids would be obviously down the pipeline. But 10 years, that would be good. 20 years, that would be like, my kids would be 10. So I'm like, okay, I don't even have kids right now. Right. So it's like, okay.
You're gonna be starting your kids' YouTube channel.
Starting my kids' YouTube channel and be like, yeah, this is garbage, but just wait until you're 20. It's gonna be a little better.
You just wait.
Yeah. It's gonna be a little better. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So 20 is a bit.
I know.
I'm not sure.
It's a lot to ask.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to ask. Well, just save your money, throw it in the stock market, and you'll be all right. It'll be good. You'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Now is the part of the show. It's a new part of the show because you said you've watched the first few episodes. I haven't got to this part yet, but I'm allowing patrons to ask questions. So if anybody wants to go to patreon.com/CraigSkitz and support, maybe you can ask a future guest a question. Like Christian says, please ask Scott to tell his story for his love of Madden, of how Madden 08 came to be.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a reoccurring gag on the channel. There's a lot of reoccurring gags on the channel, and one of them is I own pretty much all the copies of Madden 08 across like all the systems. There's no necessary reason why. It's just it's the one I like. And it was kind of like this running gag with me where I went to a store and I saw a copy of Madden 08. I was just like, I'll buy this. And then like a couple weeks later, I was like, oh wow, the same copy of Madden 08 but for the PS3. I think I'll buy this too. And then saw the PC copy and I was like, you know what? I should probably start a Madden 08 collection. And thankfully that happened before the YouTube channel started. And, I kind of thought like, where would I want there to be like a set or something on, where would I want to film these videos? And I just did the desk there. But I didn't want it to be like a standard computer desk. So pretty much every little thing you see on the desk are like these little references to other things, like whether it be older episodes or just things from my past. Like I said, like my first 2 cameras were on there. That's a flip camera right there, a flip video camera.
Nice.
This is wasn't that bad. Was a lot better than this one. Yeah. But those are on the desk, and there's other stuff like the hat I wore in like the first video on the channel entirely. But decided to put some Madden 08 copies on there. And ever since, it's just been a fun little recurring gag. Everybody has their thing on YouTube. Everybody has their thing. And that's my thing, even though there's a lot of other things now too. But I thought that would be a fun little thing that would kind of set me apart, I guess. But yeah, there's like a solid like 12 copies or so.
Nice,
counting.
Nice. Way to go. So is there any that you're missing right now? Any console version?
I mean, technically speaking, if we want to go like imports, like if we want to go like the Japanese version, I think that's the next on the chopping block. But that has to, like in the Christmas special I told you about, like at the end of that, that's when I got like all the major versions as like the big, like, oh wow, finally, well, it's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
And we got Vince Young, who was the cover athlete of Madden 08, to appear in there via Cameo.com.
Nice.
Which is a fun time. Cameo is such a fun little website where
Cameo.
you get all these you get these B-list celebrities who they don't have much going on, but they'll say whatever you want for a small fortune. But Vince Young had to pay $150 just to ask him, like, hey, would this be cool? And he was like, yep. And then I sent him another cameo that was $150. And he was late to give it to me, and then I sent him another cameo for $150. I spent a lot of money on Vince Young just for this video, but it was worth it. He got him back to me, so thank God. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's where that started.
One of the things that I didn't we did a game attack. We actually did a cameo draft where we treated it like a baseball draft or a football draft where we had teams and we had a budget that we had to stay in, and we each drafted. We treated our like we were general managers, and we were drafting people from Cameo. And like I finished like Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters and Paula Abdul, and it was pretty fun, man. It was really fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if they've actually shown those off yet, but it's pretty great. So.
Oh yeah, it was. I think me and my friends one day I was just like, hey, I got like $100 to blow. Do you guys just want to get celebrities to say some weird stuff on Cameo? Right. So we did that. It's a fun time. If you have some extra money to blow, I think Cameo is a fun way to do it. Yeah,
Cameo's great. All right, Adam Xerox wants to know is when are you reviewing Mega Man 2?
I don't know. I talked about Mega Man 1. I don't know. The way I schedule things. I mean, I have like I usually when you do weekly stuff, you do have to schedule things ahead of time. In terms of like I have like when 2020 started, I had like rough outline of the year that I wanted to do, and a lot of times those videos shift around and stuff like that, and it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. It's a weird thing where the Mega Man games are they all look the same on the NES. So it's and then when you go to 8 and 9 and 10, they still look the same. So it's also like you kind of want to focus on some games that may be a bit more I don't know, interesting visually. But I would love to do more of the Mega Man stuff. Part of me is kind of like, man, I could do Mega Man X next, just to whatever. It's kind of just based on. I usually schedule things based on how I'm feeling that month. Not necessarily like that exact month, but it's also like what feels like an August video. What feels like it would fit well in August or something like. I usually think in terms of seasons. Like, I don't know, like November is usually like when I like to do a lot of like stuff that feels very at home when, it's like Black Friday or you're at Thanksgiving with the family and stuff like that. Like I did an episode called Game Stores that was just kind of like a skit at a game store and was just bitching about game stores a lot. Which I actually went back to the old Screw Tech show name tags for like inspiration for that, just because they basically just did that in their whole garage. They basically just made a whole game store in their garage basically, and just to try to like figure it out, because I had to turn my living room into a game store pretty much. So I was just like, okay, how do I do this? It's a lot of wallpaper and a lot of random posters and random shelves and stuff, but I think it came out pretty well. But I picked November for that because game stores, Black Friday, big shopping season, it makes sense. It feels right. So I haven't had a time where Mega Man 2 felt just right, but we'll see. We'll see.
I just want to let you know it's my favorite. So,
Yeah,
if you ever need a Cameo for that, you don't need to pay me 150 Vince Young dollars.
I only have to pay 250 Vince Young dollars.
Yeah, throw it down.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. No, I'm a big 2 guy. I like 2, but that's the generic answer. That's the one that's immediately like, oh yeah, that's the best one. 3's a bit, that goes on for a while because you have the entire end is it's just a marathon pretty much. 1 is a little rough around the edges, but it's still a solid time, I think.
4 is underrated. 4 underrated.
Yeah. I do like 6 quite a bit because you have the rush suit pretty much, or the rush add-ons and stuff. That was super cool. And then the other ones aren't bad at all either. 9 and 10 are quite a great time. 11 was fantastic in my opinion. I liked 11 quite a bit. But that's a lot of content right there. So if I ever think I ran out of video ideas, I have at least 400 other Mega Man games to go through, even though I've only done the first one.
They didn't go through the BattleNet series or whatever it's called, and the Z series and the X series.
Never. Yeah, that's a bit. I'm more of a generic Mega Man guy,
Me
but
too.
I know those games can be pretty quality. But that series just went everywhere. Yeah. So there's a lot to go through, and with a lot of other game series too. There's an endless amount of stuff to talk about when it comes to gaming, which makes it the kind of the most fun thing to talk about online, in my opinion. There's always something that somebody hasn't talked about. There's something you can talk about that everybody knows about, but it's still fun.
Right. Exactly, it's wonderful. I got one more patron question for you.
All right.
Zach says, are there any series retrospectives or reviews that you wanted to do but you haven't yet? Love your looks on Sonic, Smash Brothers, as well as the hardware focused videos. So is there anywhere you want to hit?
Obviously, yeah. There's I would love to focus on more systems. I would love to focus on more systems than just Nintendo ones. But the thing is, Nintendo is kind of my bread and butter. It's just what I love the most in terms of the history and the retrospectives on. I bought a bunch of random garbage that I really want to talk about. I did. I can grab this right now.
Oh, please do.
I did buy one of these guys finally. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but it's also completely worthless.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I tried it for the first time, and it was and it came with the box and everything, and I have at least 6 games, which means I have pretty much the entire library.
Right, but, you do.
Yeah. But it's a weird thing where it's a lot more similar to the 3DS than I thought it was going to be, because it's basically sticking your head in there is viewing a 3DS screen only in red and black in a dark room. Yeah. And that's all it is. And it's kind of neat, but it's also the games released for it are so damn they're so simple. At least the ones I have Mario Clash and what else Vertical Force and random stuff like that, and they're fine, but it's there's stuff that you could play on the Game Boy and they'd be perfectly fine. So that's one I would love to do, and there's other systems that I think would be super interesting to go over. In terms of series, there's always stuff that I would love to do. But I'm very picky with talking about stuff ahead of time, because I don't really want to get people's expectations up, which is weird, because I like to I like to try to meet expectations or exceed expectations with the videos, but if I specifically told somebody oh yeah, I'm gonna do a Virtual Boy video, which I probably will, in it could be tomorrow or it could be literally in 20 years. I don't know, but I don't really want to say oh yeah, I'm working on a Virtual Boy video and just plaster it all over social media and then get people thinking oh my god, what could a Virtual Boy video be on? And it's literally just a basic ass video.
Right.
I kind of like it to be that rush of adrenaline for people who enjoy the videos, where they get a notification on their phone, and it's like a topic they actually really like. They're like, oh my god, yes, and they click on it and they watch it, and I like that. I like that element of surprise. So I'm very secretive when it comes to like what I'm working on. I guess
I like it. It's good. Keep your cards to the chest. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Well, so coming next week, Virtual Boy retrospective, very soon from Scott The Woz.
Never know. Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, until I get the rest of the games, maybe.
Did you play when you play it? So when you play, are you laying down, or are you actually setting it on? How are you playing?
I lay down because that's my personal preferred way of playing it so far. Because it's like when you lay down and you just have it like basically just like drip all over your face.
Right.
It's I mean, like that's a way where it's like you get the full screen. You don't really have to worry about like light seeking in or anything like that. I think laying down, and like that is an official way to play it. I think there was like a picture in Nintendo Power of like a kid in the grass laying down with it on his head. So I think it's a totally worthwhile way to play it.
I love the idea.
Except you should never buy one because it's worthless, but it's whatever.
I love the idea of it being like this official way of a kid going outside with his virtual reality unit, laying down on the grass that he should be playing on, only to go be sucked into this alternate reality of red and black.
It's the total thing of like the parent telling them to like, oh, you need to play outside more, and then you just play Virtual Boy, which is the worst thing you could possibly be doing outside. I don't know how well it works outside, but I think that would be a fun thing to try.
May be great for the video, give it a go.
Yeah,
right?
Never know.
Replicate
it. Of course.
If or when it ever comes out, which is good.
Yeah. If. That's a big if.
Big if. Well, I'll tell you what, man, this has been super fun. I've taken a lot of your time today. And I don't.
Oh, it's no issue at all. Like I said, I'm on a break, so it's been no issue at all.
Awesome. Well, what I need you to do now is I need you to let everybody know where they can find you and why they should subscribe to the Scott The Woz channel and turn on notification bell and all that fun stuff. So just go ahead and let everybody know what's going on.
Well, the Scott The Woz YouTube channel is basically like a weekly, like it's a show. There's a show where it's just a comedic video game variety show, and I only call it a variety show. It's not like a sketch comedy show like SNL or anything. It's more so like it's a variety of topics. It's not just reviews. It's not just retrospectives. It's not just a skit. It's not just all that. It's kind of like anything it wants to be. But yeah, it's all just Scott The Woz, and then on social media, it's all just Scott The Woz. And you should view it just if you want to. I'm very adamant that I've never asked people to like subscribe or anything. Again, there's no problem with that, but I feel like there's this sense of like if the viewer goes out of their way to, then they're more passionate about the thing. Sure. Where like if you don't tell them, it's just like, oh yeah, if you subscribe, then you have a chance to win a Nintendo Switch or something like that.
Sure.
I feel like there's something. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about like people just going out of their way to subscribe or follow you if they care that much to. So I won't tell people to. If they want to, they can. But yeah. Yeah.
No, if you want to, guys, please don't think about it. I had a twitch there or whatever. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you very much. It's so fun talking to you. It's great to meet you. And
of course, you too.
In 6 months, a year from now, we'll do this again, and we'll check on an update on where we are with Virtual Boy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, this was a fun time. It's been like I said, it was really cool to finally like talk to you like person to person here, just because you were, like I told you, you were probably like one of the last people that I watched a lot of back then that I had yet to like kind of talk to. So it's a really cool thing, and it's also like it's also really weird that I've kind of talked to pretty much everybody that I've watched back then.
It's cool.
So yeah, it's
a
really cool thing.
It's a lot smaller world, just the ability to connect people. It's a lot easier, And,
it's wild because there's even people like just all around you. The irate gamer himself, Chris Boers, I think lives in my town. So
what?
Yep.
Wow.
I'm pretty. That's a wild thing right there.
Wait, did you say the irate gamer?
Yep.
The irate,
irate gamer.
Oh man, okay. I just thought
Yep.
I just thought it was a irate gamer, but it's the irate gamer.
Oh,
which
it's
is great.
the one. It's the one. He lives somewhat close to me, I believe. So
At some point, you may have bagged his groceries.
Possibly. I think I would have recognized him, though.
Oh.
I probably would have recognized him. I would have been like, oh my god.
Wow.
It's the irate gamer. That would have been a wild moment there.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a small world.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. And we'll catch up again soon.
All right, awesome.
All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. Scott is such a great guy and so fun to talk to. And I know that you'll enjoy his stuff if you go watch it as well. Very unique as far as his format, very unique as far as his release schedule. You're not bombarded by stuff every single day on YouTube. It's definitely a quality over quantity mindset with Scott. So go support him. Go check his stuff out. It's Scott The Woz on YouTube. And if you are so inclined, please, if you made it this far and you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you every single Monday at noon Central Time when we release new episodes, when I release new episodes of the CraigSkitz podcast. Patreon, it's a big deal. Please go support it. All right, next week, guess what? It's going to be kind of fun. I'm really excited about this one. It's already recorded. It's in the can, ready to go for next Monday at noon. Episode 7, Gerard the Completionist. I'll see you guys next Monday at noon Central Time.